This past year, I've come to know the deepest love I ever have. I pinch myself when I realize how acclimated I am in weekly cuddle puddles and words of praise so unconditionally spoken, when I rest in the ease of clear communication and full understanding. There's this experience of being fully met, of infinite permission to have who we are celebrated. This sisterhood has created a new baseline of connection and possibility for me, and I wanted to share some thoughts for anyone seeking more community in their lives. Those little bunny teeth.
I know. Like, your two bunny hosts. I'm Tata.
Do you have bunny teeth also?
Do you have bunny teeth? And you want to be in the bunny gang?
And eat raw carrots.
And like munch on raw veggies and get gas.
And eat like too much garlic. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Today I'm joined with one of my favorite humans in the whole world, Reese. She also, I like to call her Suchi because she's a sweetie and loves sweet things, or Min, which is her Korean name. So
Call me
use
whatever. Any of the above nicknames.
And I'm Toto. That's my nickname.
Toto?
And we just wanted to talk about belonging and togetherness and how to make friends, even if you're really awkward, because I feel like everyone that we know is really awkward.
We're all just low-key very awkward together.
I've been lonely for a lot of my life. And so some things that we've uncovered. What makes you feel confident?
So I very much had to go through the process of being an extreme loner, and I found the more that I was chasing friendship as a means to escape myself, the more I had trouble finding people that I felt like I related to, but it was very much because I didn't even know how to relate to myself. So I think diving straight into like a practice, whether it's, for me it was painting, like I just painted all day long and started to feel confident that I had like a skill that I felt excited about to do alone. And then eventually it like opened a lot of doors in terms of just having commonalities with other people who would identify as an artist. And I think, feeling just confident is like a life practice, honestly. So having one thing and dedicating time and having space to, rather than it feeling like a side project amidst you trying to actually just make friends so that you don't have to
Be
so alone.
Yeah.
It's like filling your time with things that fill you enough with something to be excited about. Like, oh, I have this thing that I love to do alone, even if it's just one thing. You don't feel such a desperation to like fill your time with a company, and then it comes. It just like naturally all of a sudden came right when I started to feel really good in my own life, I guess, as an alone person.
Yeah.
I was like,
I love that.
As a solo dolo human. That's all I wanted was friends.
There's several points to that really resonate with me. One of them being that you can be a bit more discerning about what actually feels good when you are content on your own. You don't have to force these random interactions just so that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And the second one is that I just think that's the most energetically attractive place to be, is to be in like a neutral, loving state with yourself. And I feel the most confident when I believe myself in my actions, like when I'm alone and I'm treating myself really well and I'm doing things that I enjoy or that excite me, and I'm literally treating myself how I want to be treated by a friend, and I'm remembering that I want to be grateful every single moment, and I'm just like making each moment romantic. That's when I'm like, oh wow, I can just smile and giggle and no one else is in the room. And I feel really filled up. And I just wanted to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just need to answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy, therapy. That way BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel most comfortable, whether that's via text, chat, video, or phone call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions whenever it's convenient for you, which I love. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/hitomi, and I've also linked them down below in the description. That's betterhelp.com/hitomi.
I definitely think feeling like, I don't know, that you have something to offer. It's like being the friend that you're looking for, basically. It's like not this, you're not going to find them like scrolling or like escaping. I think it's very much just being really like brutally honest. Like, am I a person that, am I going to bring safety and security to someone else if I can't bring it to myself?
Yeah.
And it takes a long time. Like, I think it's totally fine to like have a couple of weeks or days even where you're just sitting in the discomfort of like not feeling 100% amazing. Like, that's very human and normal. It takes a lot of work to actually like yourself, and it takes practice and it takes like discipline, honestly, in this day and age where it's like so easy to like self-sabotage in ways that don't even feel like it. In some ways, like scrolling and stuff feels like such a safe place to build from, but it's actually so, I don't know, it's like overwhelming, and then you can't really even decide like, okay, what's something realistically that I want to dive into deeper?
Yeah, it's very easy to put on a mask.
Yeah.
And the quickest way to find an authentic connection is to be so deeply rooted in the most authentic version of who you are. And that's where radical honesty really comes in handy, because I also feel really confident when I am sad and feel pathetic and lonely or whatever I feel, and I'm so honest about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not internalizing it. It's just something that I'm witnessing right now, something that I'm growing through. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that I'm hiding from myself. So I can just bring that to other people without tons of layers of shame or guilt. And one of my favorite things to do when like all of our little friends hang out is to say if I am feeling anxious or if I'm feeling really sensitive, or even if I just need to cry, I'll be like, hey guys, just really need to cry right now because I've been feeling this, this, and this. And it immediately dissolves the intensity of those emotions, because you remember you can just watch it, and to share that with other people, it's like a little debriefing, and then we can all witness each other and hold each other and know that it's not like some definitive statement about who you are, that you're feeling a little bit pathetic today, even though that's an intense word. Like, we're so hard on ourselves, and it can build up to that place of like, I just want to hide my whole self away. But it's really radical in my like experience to just show up and be in the muckiest state of being, open up that doorway for all of us to be really vulnerable about the deep down things. And one of the best things to hear is, oh, me too, also feeling that way, which is frequently the case.
It's funny because I feel like we always assume that it's such an isolating, like, alone journey, and it's like, why would it ever be? Like, we all feel mostly the same things. If you're in like an awkward conversation, like, it's shared. Like, that feeling isn't just you. It's like we're both, like, if you're in some sort of weird thing, it's like that's not just you. It's probably the other person being like, well, I'm being awkward, and then you're like, no, I'm being awkward.
You're both self-internalized.
Like, we're both awkward, and it's totally fine. Whatever. Like, you can just say that and be like, sorry, I'm awkward today. Like,
see, I love addressing it. Just like, let's talk about it.
No, yeah. It's definitely better to just address everything and be like, first and foremost, just honest with yourself. It makes everything easier in your life to, rather than skirting around it and letting it linger for like days or weeks or months. It's like, okay, just sit in the feeling really deeply, whatever it is, and then allow yourself to take whatever steps naturally, and know that there's time for everything, and that there is no like timeline for when you need this like thing or like whatever you're looking for. I think getting to know the ways intuitively how to like navigate your own internal map will lead you to so many other people who are doing it in similar ways, and it brings you together, and you can sort of like regulate as a collective instead, and then you don't have to do everything alone. You're just like, oh yeah, I'm also insecure about this thing, and how do we like help each other through that, you know?
It really builds intimacy. You need vulnerability to build intimacy. Some of my favorite connections in my life are ones where we help each other return home. I feel like all of the people in our lives do that in some shape or form.
And it takes creating a safe space within yourself to be able to be that for somebody else. And that means taking the time to be alone and to, however long it takes, find the methods that help you regulate, whether it's like being in water or just like sitting in stillness or being present enough. Like it's uncomfortable for a while, but then over time you'll notice such dramatic shifts in the way that you're able to show up for yourself. Like in the mornings, doing a different thing, like making very small changes in your day to day that feel accessible to you so that you can be that for other people and do it together. And I think then you're just building a practice of like, how can we feel really safe in the world as a community and as a collective?
Yeah, it's like, how can we create space for all things to rise together? Do I have a booger?
No.
And alone time is really important, but I also want to stress that you do need to put yourself out there, and it will probably feel a little scary. And this is just a quick anecdote. The last year of high school, I was really sad, and I had this core group of friends, but I was struggling, and I went to the hospital. And when I got out, my one friend was like, hey, can we talk? But I had just gotten out of the hospital, so I was like, maybe tomorrow. And she started cursing me out. So my whole friend group hated me. I remember graduating, and I didn't talk to anyone for like the last 2 months, and I spent a lot of time alone after that. I did go to therapy. I did heal a lot. I felt really close to myself and validating my experience, but that didn't serve me as much as actually like going out in the world, or that did serve me up to a point. And then when I moved into this house with like 5 women who were all so sweet and so kind, that's when I could actually really heal those past wounds, because the amygdala in your brain will hold on to a past traumatic experience and project it onto every version of that comes up until you have a better one or just a newer one. So just know that your mind may trick you or make you feel like, oh, this random potluck is a really scary, intense thing. Because maybe there was a food fight at the last one. I don't know.
A food fight?
Something more intense than that. But just breathe deeply and know that it's a new experience, and this is how you rewrite the past and create new neural pathways. And every single time that we go out in the world, we learn something about ourselves or just build resilience and experience of being like, hey, I feel this way, but I don't need to act negatively on it.
Yeah.
And it's good practice, even if you have a really awkward experience.
You have to learn how to trust yourself, essentially, and to also know that it's impossible to feel this like perfect, confident version of yourself at all times, but to also know that the opposite isn't reality. Like, it takes time to learn how to navigate in the world, and it's like in social situations especially, to give yourself the grace of like being shy sometimes or saying weird things, but also knowing the impermanence of every situation. Like, one weird encounter will like stick in your brain and you'll just be fixating on it, but it's like no one else cares except for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, just move on with your life. Like, that person wasn't meant to be your like best friend. Like, no big deal. Just like move on.
Yeah, like
Move
if someone
on.
doesn't laugh on your joke, it's like they just don't get your sense of
They
humor.
just don't get it. And it's like, cool. There's so many people in the world. I think oftentimes it's so easy to fixate on like one experience of like discomfort and to think that you're just a weirdo and you don't deserve like anyone's time for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh, okay, calm down. There's gonna be like 12 more people you're gonna meet in the like next month. I don't know. But it does take like putting yourself out there repeatedly and knowing like not every situation's gonna be ideal. Like, it's just the way that life works. You just kind of have to roll and know that you, in the way that you're operating in this life, is perfectly acceptable, because that's like where you're at.
That's your natural experience, so how could it be wrong?
There's no wrong experiences like in that realm.
Unconditional acceptance has been huge the past 2 years because you don't have to take any of it too seriously, and know that even your big reactions and mean dialogue toward yourself comes from somewhere, and that isn't actually how you feel about yourself. Like, I do think that we are all born, yay, I love myself, life is cool, I'm curious about everything, and then slowly more layers and conditioning get piled on top of us. So just remembering, oh, this like intense shame guilt narrative is just from my childhood, or I'm just really sensitive because of these things, and it's not a big deal, and it's okay that I am the way that I am. It's okay to be sensitive. There's no reason to add another story to that. Just know that, oh, I'm just going to be with people who are emotionally in touch and sensitive. I learned that this is something I require to feel safe in a friendship, is people who can also be emotionally vulnerable. So taking everything as information that informs your decision making and your green flags for people in friendships.
I feel like one other thing I would add to like making friends is being genuinely curious about everybody, not just the people that you think you want to be friends with, or like you look at someone and you're like, oh, they seem cool. It's like, get to actually know who they are and be curious about every aspect of people in general. It's like, you never know who's going to be randomly a really cool, awesome person. I think sometimes we're just very surface level of like, that person looks like a cool person, I want to be their friend. It's like actually just opening yourself up to every human as a potential person that will add like great deals of love and support into your life beyond just how you think someone is or appears.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Trust the energy that you feel. Trust it. Because you could hang out with someone who has really cool style and makes really cool art, but the energy feels like a flat line to you.
And then you just feel uncomfortable and you're like, I feel like weird now. I don't know how to socialize. And it's like, well, they're just not like your type of person.
It just feels like this opening, and I think that that's how I describe a good connection. It's just this subtle bliss of being excited about who you are as a person and excited about who they are, and you can trust that.
This is just who I am. I'm not going to try and be like cool or seem like, oh yeah, check out that thing.
Unconditional acceptance comes in because you don't care if you're damaged.
Yeah, it's like we're all a little fucked up. It's okay. Like, let's reminisce on all of the ways that we are really common. I think fundamentally, if you boil down all of our insecurities and all the things we've been to, it's like we just don't want to feel rejected. We don't want to feel unloved, and that's like baseline for everyone. Just make people feel important, no matter who they are. And I think that will come back like tenfold into your life, and those people will, I don't know, you just find each other.
Don't try to be cool. Be kind.
Yeah. Stop trying to be so cool. Like, what's the thing? It's like, don't kill the part of you that's cringe. Kill the part that cringes.
That's too real.
I'm like, that's the real kicker. Stop cringing at everything. Stop judging everything, and you'll stop judging yourself a little more. And then I think, once you accept the imperfection into your life, all of the pieces come together, and you get, I don't know, it's just easeful.
Just like being open to have the story be molded a little bit. I feel like manifesting sweet community and friends is very much within reach. And so speak it, pray it, write it. What will having a nourishing community bring to you? What parts of you do you want to feel more situated in? What parts of you do you want to share? What gifts do you want to be amplified in your life? And I'm telling you, the universe will answer as you are also acting and putting yourself out there.
Hang out at your local library, or like go to the little, I don't know what's it.
The little thing on the corner.
The thing at the place. Go lurk somewhere. You're not going to find all your friends on the internet. So you do need to leave your home every now and then, and it doesn't need to be crazy, but you'd be surprised at the random little moments that you put yourself out there, how much maybe it will give you back in return. You never know.
Be open to the possibilities.
We all met at a craft fair.
I really feel like there are so many earth angels out there, and by that I mean just artistic people trying to liberate their souls in some way, doing nature things. Like, I just swear that there's so many more little communities and girl gangs popping up that are like that, and it's so cool. And
Yeah.
I see it a lot on Instagram. There are like more meetup things happening. Social media can be a good resource for that too. Just hit someone up and say, hey, do you want to grab coffee or go on a picnic, and bring all your little activities. It could be a vibe.
Yeah, use social media for good and not for evil.
Yeah.
For not for comparison, but for friendship and connections, like what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, you're right. I
for
forgot.
a long time ago, full score 7 years ago.
For positive moral values.
Yeah, and be weird and be proud of your weirdness. People will like you for it, maybe. If they don't, then like, whatever.
The right people.
Yeah, the right people will appreciate all of your strangeness and invite it all, and don't be too shy. I think a big thing sometimes can just be like going up to someone and giving them a compliment, or like telling them they like something, or I don't know. I think it can be hard to break the ice, but just like going up to people in the same way that you would try and approach a relationship, it's like friendship is even more exciting and important because it feels so
unconditional and
unconditional.
lifelong.
Yeah, so treat it as if you're like in the same way that you approach like romance. It's like romance the people that you want to be friends with. Be like slow and honest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's that on that.
And that's that on that.
That's
Go
all we
make
have
some
to
friends
say.
today.
You got this. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Your heart is precious.